even though I was definitely clapping right up to the mic. But whatever.
Just like picking up all the bitches, eh?
And you're picking up the hierarchy of hoes.
Yeah. The hierarchy of hoes, my dear. Hmm?
They're a hierarchy of hoes. They're called dravins. Okay, no.
Those blonde bitches better be on their knees.
They better suckle my balls, my dick. Okay. Jesus Christ.
Yes. Ncuti Gatwa has lovely cheekbones. The thing I want to think about as I'm about to die.
Oh, fuck yes. Tom, what is his fucking problem?
He's just very existential, but in a very, like, peaceful way.
Yeah. So, fuck.
He is like an actual Time Lord just waiting to regenerate, isn't he?
Do you think he will actually quote the line as he's dying?
It's the end.
Because people joke about that, and people are living in dread about the Twitter fuckers who are going to tweet it when he dies. But I wonder if Tom himself is actually going to say it.
No, he's gonna be like, Lalo always had the juiciest cunt.
It made my beard taste very good. He never even had a beard. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, he did actually. He did have a beard at one point.
Okay. I know there is a Game of Thrones or a Song of Ice and Fire passage about his beard and her cunt taste like something.
Well, yeah, it was like, until his beard and her cunt was soaked. That's Tyrion and Shay.
Huh.
Anyway, I have a question for you, Mr. Will Maddox.
Oh?
What has 4 wheels and flies?
I was hoping to be a smart-ass like Callum and just instantly guess it, but no, my brain just isn't going to get there. So you better just rip the Band-Aid off.
A garbage truck.
Oh. Okay, that took me a second. I hate you.
Yep. No, we still only have one in the last 5 to 6 years of doing this channel. We still only have one example of someone getting it, and it was Callum the other day.
Good on him, but that's because he spends too much. That's because he spends too much time around you, so he's on your wavelength.
He's had the most opportunities to get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, and welcome to day 23 of the Genesis of Androzani Advent Calendar for 2023. Bit of a alliteration
Merry Christmas Eve.
Yes, and today we are doing one of the most looked forward to videos I've thought of having for the entire tenure of this channel. This is something that I have been planning for since 2017 when I first made this account. It is a reaction and a review of my final classic Who story, and that is the season 5 finale, The Wheel in Space. It is the only classic Who story I've never seen, and it is going to be my last. And the reason why I've chosen this one to be my last is because my first ever Doctor Who story ever was Rise of the Cybermen, Age of Steel. Well, technically it was Age of Steel, the second part. That's the first ever episode I watched on TV in 2006. And so here we are.
Snap!
Yep.
The first Doctor Who related thing I remember seeing is when Ten and Rose are walking around that street with the people who are standing around, and they're like, it's the earpieces!
Yep.
So yeah, we started with the same story. But yeah, I think he brought me on for this special occasion because I think this is the second. Okay, apart from my partner, this is the second time I've been here for someone's final Classic Who story, because Matt of the Universals, who you've had on for Planet of Fire and Silver Nemesis.
Yeah, and also for Doomsday.
Oh yeah, I was there when he watched his final Classic Who story, which was Snake Dance. So this is my second rodeo being present for someone finally losing what little remains of.
That is a great one to end one, and Snake Dance is brilliant. But I know that you were lucky enough for your last Classic Who story to be Inferno, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a choice.
Yeah, it was either that or Curse of Peladon, and I was like, I know people love Inferno, so I'll end on
I think
Inferno.
both of those stories are masterpieces for completely different reasons, but
yeah,
it's generally agreed, unless you're Billy Garrett John, that Inferno's the superior one. Or actually, no, Samuel Davis, because I know that Samuel Davis loves Curse of Peladon and hates Inferno, so there you go.
Oh. Wait, did I say Curse of Peladon? I meant Monster of Peladon. That was my other.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, right, okay, well, that's a bit different.
Yeah, that's a bit different.
I enjoy Monster of Peladon, but it's a bit of a mixed story, whereas Inferno is a masterpiece.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I definitely ended well there. But yeah, this is my second time being present for someone finally losing what little remains of their Classic Who virginity.
Yeah.
I mean, my partner's last Classic Who story was the War Games, but that's because I that's because I framed it to be that way, because we watched all of Doctor Who out of order at first. We then returned to it in America.
You know, Zod, also known as the Zodiac Gamer. I believe the War Games will probably end up being their last as well, if I remember correctly. Because I started them with Spearhead from Space, and they just went in chronological order.
Huh. I think there's a Strange Folks.
Yeah, if they now if they go around to watch the 60s, the War Games will be their last one.
I know it's the Strange Folks said they want the War Games to be their last as well. So that's valid. But yeah, so this is my... for you, it will be the Wheel in Space, and I am present for this because I am your resident Patty Tratty slut.
Yep. I would also like to give some credit to Lord Slar, because his YouTube channel, when I first discovered it back in the day, early 2017, was what got me to really sink my teeth into Classic Who, because I thought, I don't really know much about a lot of the meat of these seasons, so I watched his reviews of the first few seasons of Classic Who back in those days, and that's
which he's never resumed.
And what
he stopped at season 5.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel kind of jealous of myself a little bit back then, because it's hard to explain if you weren't inside my head, but my understanding of classic Doctor Who had so much mystery around it that everything sounded so interesting to me. Like, because I hadn't seen the bulk of it, so my head was like, "Oh, this all sounds so great."
I definitely relate to that feeling. I had it with early Paul McGann Big Finish as well. Like, it's all this big, like that and Classic Who. Before I'd actually really properly went out of my way to watch all, it was this very mysterious, long journey, this strange abyss of unknowable stories that, I knew the names of them and I knew which doctors were in them, but that was about it. So
I remember that I had never seen that much of the stories themselves. So in my head, I was constructing like what were these stories about based purely off the titles.
Oh yeah, I think I was the same too.
Because I remember when I was a kid, I used to have all of the Doctor Who stories in order written on a piece of paper, and it was taped to my wall.
Ah, that's cute.
And I used to, as a new episode came out, I used to write it in.
When you say you used to form narratives based off the title, that reminded me of how, before I'd ever seen An Unearthly Child, I knew the episode title, but before I'd ever actually seen it, I saw its episode title, and I knew about the Empty Child, and I was like, is An Unearthly Child a prequel to the Empty Child?
Yeah. And back in those days when my only access to the show was hiring a 3-episode DVD from the shop, it felt like every chance to watch the show was like discovering a fucking treasured gold or something. It was really felt really special.
Yeah, I definitely I relate to that feeling, and I miss
Yeah,
that feeling.
and I remember when I was like 11 years old, and I watched like I bought the Time Meddler and Revelation of the Daleks on DVD, and I watched Classic Who properly for the first time. My brain just like expanded. I was like, holy shit, this is so different. I've never seen anything like this. It was just, it was the most like watching Doctor Who back when you're a kid is like the most magical experience. It's so different.
Yeah. And we'll never get that feeling again unless we, I don't know, get amnesia.
I mean, I get I get a lot of pleasure out of watching Doctor Who now, but it's a very different kind of enjoyment. It's much more analytical and intellectual, whereas back then it was just the pure sensation of watching it unfold as a child was just enough, you know?
Yeah, I understand
like even like a Dalek appearing on screen made me like shake with like excitement. And now we've just been we've been so overexposed to the show that it's just like
it's just whatever.
Yeah.
Like nowadays when they bring back a classic Doctor for whatever, and I'm just like, oh, it's them. Whereas like, you know, back when I was a kid and these things were more exclusive, it'd be like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah, the way I like burnt out my parents' dial-up internet to watch Time Crash, and I had to load like 5 seconds at a time.
I just imagine trying to watch Peter Davison go, shut, and then it just stutters, just shut up.
Yep.
You skinny idiot. It's just buffering.
Oh no, the amount of times because there was something wrong with the internet, the amount of times I had to replay the exact size of Belgium.
Well, the exact size of Belgium.
Yeah.
That's a bit kind of dramatic, isn't it? Belgium. Anyway, we've done a lot of waffling. But yeah, this is going to be the Wheel in Space, apparently. And as your viewers will quite rightly see, another benefit of having me on is that I have made a special cut of episode 1 for you, because back around 2019 when they animated the Macra Terror, they also animated 10 minutes of episode 1 of the Wheel in Space,
and
which Connor has actually...
Yes,
yeah.
On my Patreon, I have reacted and reviewed to. I did it with Adam many years ago when the Macra Terror DVD came out. And I think when this video releases, I might consider making that video public as a sort of a little bonus at some point.
That'd be neat, actually. But yeah, like, so Connor has seen that version of it, but obviously it's a 10-minute sort of cut-down version.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took the full loose cannon recon of episode 1 and I spliced those animated segments, like, back into the episode where they would be. So it will sort of switch between animation and recon, but I think it will be very serviceable.
Did you make the animation black and white to blend in, or is it color?
It is black and white.
Because I watched the color
just
version.
as it should. It should be black and white. Or these fiends who watch them in color. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, do you want me to introduce you to what I think of the story before we go in?
You could, sort of, but I am aware it's written by David Whittaker. It has the Cybermen. It's Zoe's first story. There's the outlast of Victoria's exit, and I'm aware that a lot of people believe that the Cybermen's plan does not make sense, and it's very contrived.
Not a bad summation. A lot of people say this story is kind of just trash, just dull trash. I would disagree. It is definitely one of the weaker Troughtons. It's not your, I don't know, Evil of the Daleks, or Tomb of the Cybermen, or Web of Fear, or Invasion, War Games, Macra Terror, Power of the Daleks, or whatever. It's definitely not in that tier. But I think there's still some worth in it that people kind of overlook. It has great character stuff. Episode 1, I think especially, is pretty good. It's a good bottle episode, which is interesting. It's quite an interesting...
It's a rare example of just the Doctor and Jamie.
Yeah, it's just those two. And in the other episodes, there's some good David Whittaker style characterization. There's some nice themes, at least because it's a Cyberman story and it introduces Zoe. Both of them are very logical. They're sort of like two sides of the same coin in a way.
Yep.
And they make a good contrast to each other.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is this the first story with the Cyber Planner, or is that not this one?
It is this one, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
It comes back in the invasion, and then we don't see it
Nightmare in
again until... yeah, let's
Oh.
just ignore that. But the Cybermen are definitely the weakest part of it, because I do agree their plan is very convoluted when you stop and think about it.
Well, apparently, this was originally pitched as a Cybermen and Daleks story.
That is true. And Terry Nation was like, no, don't do that.
So then we had to wait until Doomsday in 2006.
And fans cried because the Daleks beat the Cybermen, and that's not fair. That's pretty much fan reaction.
Even though the Cybermen are designed for survival, whereas the Daleks are designed for the opposite of survival to the opposition.
Yeah.
It's actually, they were written as you'd expect, and it created an interesting dynamic where the Cybermen had to create a civil union with the humans to make it through.
Yeah, but you can't trust fans to look at nuance, can you?
See, what they would want is they'd want those hyper upgraded Cybermen from bloody Nightmare and Silver to be in it so they could match the power.
Yeah, not how it works, fans. Sorry to say. But yeah, that's pretty much my 2 cents on the story. That's my spoiler-free, pretty much, introduction to it. And we can delve in when you want to.
Yes! Yes!
Maybe
yes.
Maybe I could do this with Dylan with Nightmare in Eden, finally.
Nightmare of Eden, yeah.
Nightmare of Eden. Yeah.
I've
been talking about Nightmare...
It's been a while since
I was about to say...
Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, I've been talking about Nightmare in Silver too much, so I called it Nightmare in Eden.
Nightmare
anyway, you could do... Oh, damn.
It was at that moment when Romana ate the forbidden apple that the Doctor and his companion realized that they were completely naked.
Hot.
There is something very biblical about Tom Baker, isn't there?
In a weird way, yeah. I see what you mean.
And then all the salty fans would be like, "Oh, you just said he's space Jesus."
It's not a 6-part. I don't know why we turned into Dylan, but hey. Dylan,
Yeah,
we love you. You're just our go-to Classic Who snob. Yeah. And I say that as a Classic Who snob.
He's the most iconic one. Well, obviously, actually, no, that's not true. Ian Levine is, but that we don't like him, so... Anyway.
Anyway, what you're going to say is you haven't seen something?
I haven't seen a Recon in quite some time, so this could take some getting used to.
Yeah. That's probably why it's a good thing I've spliced the animation in, so it can sort of guide you-ish.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I was hoping that they would have animated the whole story by the time I got to it, but apparently not.
Nah, they're probably going to save it to one of the last ones so they can be like... They can think we got something to look forward to and we're not just animating the dregs like Mythmakers and Smugglers.
They'll be like, if they're at the last straw and they need money, they'll do it because they have the Cybermen in it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Watch as it'll be the next one after Celestial Toymaker.
Goodness me.
Celestial Toymaker is coming next, it is. But anyway.
Alright, we've got a 6-parter to watch, so shall we crack into the Wheel in Space?
Of course.
Hopefully it's better than Dragonfire.
It is better than Dragonfire, Jesus Christ.
Alright.
It just is. There's my boy. Oh my word, Jamie. We just abandoned Victoria.
He didn't even get to have a shag.
From a story by Kit Pedler, but it's actually by David Whittaker.
David Whittaker, 6-parter.
David Whittaker in a 6-parter. It's a very sad ending, but it always just makes me laugh how abrupt that takeoff is. Just, I was one of her too. But yeah, I spliced a bit of the Fury from the Deep animation on the end of that.
Oh,
just
that's the War
'cause-
Games.
Oh yeah, that's where that footage comes from.
Hey, look at it. Hey, what's that?
Those flamingos?
Yeah. I always love the way Jamie talks about like, oh, look at a bit of that. Rip TARDIS.
Oh dear.
The TARDIS is melting, Jamie. The TARDIS is wet.
It's on our feet, otherwise we'd be floating around.
It's like oxygen.
Oh yeah, so it is.
Artificial gravity, Bill.
Have a lemon sherbet. It'll quench your thirst.
Jelly baby?
The Virgin Jelly Babies versus the Chad Lemon Sherbets. I do
thing
that
is,
with
the
my
lemon
cheeks a
sherbet is
lot.
The lemon sherbet is a Tory lolly.
Ah. Explains why I eat them so much. The Doctor and Jamie see a trail of cocaine on the floor, I guess. Hater's gonna hate Jamie.
There's plenty of air in there.
It's
Try and get in.
it's a black track now, Jamie. It's like he's just walked in on his bitch, cheating on him. Ah, here comes our boy. He's a little
He's
servo
chunky.
boy. He's coming to pinch ya.
Oh, those noises. Sounds like a fax machine.
I love the way it waltzes about.
He looks very cuddly.
Hey, stick it back in and we'll float off somewhere else. It's not as...
I do love that. So just a time vector generator.
Hey, stick your rod back in.
Oh, I like that. I like the sound of that. I think the dialogue of this story is pretty good. A little
Yeah, it is,
constitutional, Jamie.
David Whittaker.
In his 6 parters, he knows how to write characters. You can have some of my beef, Jamie.
What vegetables,
Potatoes and cabbage.
And
Oh, we've seen the Doctor use a food machine before.
Yeah. This is definitely David Whisker be like, I did this in the Daleks, didn't I? Yeah. It's good for character building. Let's do it again.
Out of a square meal, but this is ridiculous.
sit down and eat it.
See, and the TARDIS one is really nice, whereas this one's not. That's the difference.
Yeah. Now we get to see the loose cannon version of animating the cuddly boy.
This one looks nice too, actually.
It's funny, the 2019 animation took a lot of inspiration from loose cannon. Like, a lot of the camera angles are exactly the same.
Probably because it's camera scripts, I think.
Probably, yeah. It's like a precursor to a Croton with the little pincers.
It's a baby Croton.
Aw.
By the diatribe. He's tired from saying bye-bye to his honey. He's sad because he won't get any more of Debbie Watling's cigarettes on set.
Don't worry, Jamie, we're about to meet Padders.
Did that robot just seal that door?
Yeah. He is like, aha, I see they want to go into that room. Well, they won't, because I'm mean. I guess. There's a lot of silence and stillness in this episode. I do like it. It's kind of creepy.
Stillness of space.
Space. No one can hear you masturbate, Jamie.
Jamie, lock it.
Jamie, it's my turn on the wank bed. It is time for
Fresh
balls.
balls. Fresh steamy balls, eh? Is that the way it's gonna be?
I like this piece of music.
I saw that this story does not have score, it only has special sounds.
It does have
It's a bit
score.
like the Abomin... Does it?
Yeah. You'll know that later for sure. The Sidemen have their own theme music and everything.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that part. I mean, in terms of original sound.
That is a wheel, and it is in space.
Real.
Uh-oh, he's coming at you. Oh no, he's coming to pinch me.
You must see this.
It doesn't like the bed sheet.
It's like when you put a plastic bag on a cat.
A gun.
Oh,
Like a torch. Be careful.
the man who never would.
Oh, he blew up Proto-Croton.
Doctor.
Oh, I won't, Jamie. I've got to go on holiday for the next episode.
There can't be any life on board there, can there?
So it's time for drastic measures.
Yes, they're very confused as to why this thing has drifted, and I have a sneaking suspicion that someone has done that by design.
Uh-oh, here come balls. That's the only way I'm ever
Bring
gonna
the
sound.
balls to the wheel. Bring the balls to the wheel.
Yes, we're going to teabag you with our balls. Oh no, Jamie, we're about to get fucked up. Credit to Victoria, even though she's in it for like 5 seconds in a recap.
Oh, Donald Sumter. It's bloody
Oh
Rassilon.
yes, it's... Yeah, it is.
He's also in the
Isn't he
Sea
playing
Devils as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Plays Enrico. I can't remember what character that is. He doesn't play the balding guy. He plays one
I'm
of the
sure.
other guys.
I think I know who it is. It's the guy who was on the phone. You know,
yeah,
the
I
guy
think
who
it's
was.
him, yeah.
Because I recognize his eyes. I knew his eyes looked familiar, and I wasn't sure why. And I think that's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's episode 1 of The Wheel in Space in
Yep.
its full context.
Yep. Good character stuff. Really good atmosphere. Cute little robot. Good mystery setup. You know, I obviously know it's a Cybermen story. I imagine the reason why the ship is drifting is because the Cybermen have sent it on purpose to try and infiltrate the wheel with those magic balls. Yeah, I really like this style of, you know, classic Who, the 60s Who, the sort of allowing part 1 to really sort of build the things up at a minimalist pace. You know, stories like the Censorites and the Space Pirates and a bunch of others do this. They go
Yeah,
to a
the
place
Web Planet
in-
as well.
Yep. They go to a place in space, specifically a rocket ship sometimes, and they just let things simmer and brew, and then you get a cliffhanger and there's a bit of character stuff, and that's really the setup, and especially when you got like a 6-parter to do. And I like how they included the end of Fury just so that it would set up the conversations that came after.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Very
jumping between the animations and loose cannon is a bit jarring, but it's the best we have.
Yeah, at the moment, until they actually drop the animation. But
I was actually really impressed by some of the 3D animation in Loose Cannon Recon, actually, I have to say.
oh yeah, yeah. When I was making that edit of episode 1, when I said that when they animated the servo robot, they took a lot of inspiration from Loose Cannon. Like some of the shots that they animated are pretty much bang on identical. Like I was contrasting and comparing them.
It kind of well, those scenes kind of reminded me of like a PlayStation cutscene, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I see what
You know,
you mean.
sort of. I mean, the blanket had the ragdoll physics of like the PS4 era, but the graphics were more like PS2.
Yeah, I see what you mean about that. I do like the scene where they stop and talk about Victoria and just grab a bite to eat. Obviously, it's not as iconic as the Dalek scene, where it's like, I will get you some bacon and eggs. But,
Yeah. Well, I like that David Whittaker does the opposite, where it doesn't turn out as nice as you'd expect. It's a bit more
yeah,
morose.
that's true.
It's like, how am I supposed to eat that, Doctor?
So just shove it down your fucking gob, Jamie, like you do with my cock. No. I remember when I showed Hugh, when Jamie's like, what do you think Victoria is doing right now, Doctor? And Hugh just blurted out, she's dead.
Yeah, I
This
think
is obviously the father.
this is very much, and obviously I'm only talking about part 1 so far, which is a tiny little sliver of the story. But I feel like this brand of Doctor Who is something I really like, and I feel like a lot of other people don't. It's that kind of episode where a lot of the more sort of normie Classic Who viewers would say, it's a boring episode in space where nothing happens. Like, they would sum it up like that. And
Yeah.
whereas I don't find this kind of Doctor Who boring at all, because I find the sort of, I like slow cooked things. You know,
Same.
I'm a big fan of what's the word? I'm a very big fan of like slow cooked pork brisket in a roll. You know, that sort of thing, pulled pork. It's sort of similar with a lot of old TV shows and even books and new TV shows, if you will. That sort of allowing everything to brew at a nice simmer is a very relaxing experience. It's different to more sort of pulsating television. I feel like a lot of people these days are more interested only in pulsating television. Whereas I kind of like a balance. I like some things that are more pulsating, more high tempo, but I also like this as well. This is more of a slow cooked meal.
Yeah, I think like your average New Who normie would be like, but it's too slow, and where's our continuity references, and where's the, I don't know, a fugitive doctor or some shit.
To be fair, they did reference Victoria, you know, it's...
Oh yeah, that's true.
But it's
and there's
relevant.
a food machine. And
Yep. You know,
but
it was a nice little bottle episode, really.
yeah, I enjoy it a lot. I look forward to when they actually animate it properly for reals.
Yeah.
But on to part 2 now, where the mystery unravels. We get introduced to the crew more properly, because obviously they were just tacked on in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, we didn't really get their names.
Oh shit! Oh Jamie, last week we were about to be blown the fuck up. And this week I'm on fucking holiday.
As much as I understand why they did it, one of the things I don't like about what they did in 70s Who is they made the title theme shorter.
Yeah, I do prefer the longer one. I know Dimmy Looming prefers the shorter one. And I'm like, shush, Dimmy.
Emergency frequency.
That's
Come
Donald
in,
Sumter.
please.
It is, yeah. I see it now.
Rassilon.
I mean, there can't possibly be anyone alive on the thing.
Tanya and Leo are the straight couple of the episode. They're just like, we obviously have chemistry.
That woman also sounds Welsh too.
I think she was aiming for Russian.
Oh, it sounds Welsh to me.
Oh, Jamie, do you see the tip of my... Oh, wait, I'm on holiday. Never mind. I'm a stunt double.
Yeah.
Alright, Doctor, I've just saved our asses. They were gonna blow us the fuck up. That background ambience is really calming. It's like if dubstep were chill.
Chill step.
Chill step.
Yeah, it's a subgenre.
Huh. He got his Beats by Dre back on, so that's nice.
4, Voyager 5.
I don't know what accent that is.
It's just like TV accent, really.
We have computed an alternative route for your...
We have computing around sound now.
This is what British people thought Americans sounded like back then.
Quite a few attempts at multiculturalism in this crew.
I've always liked an international space crew.
Only a few millimeters, 1 degree, sometimes 1.5.
Some fault
You
in the air
see,
supply
we are
unit. All the
straight,
pumps.
and we are
Is there
chatting.
many different...
What, you think there are little green men on board, do you?
Well, the two they brought back weren't exactly normal, were they?
That 1960s thing of, oh, little green men. See,
How
they are
straight.
straight, and they are straight, and they talk about the story together. There's danger. Oh, don't worry, we can shag in the supply closet.
Yeah, I'll give you some supplies, lovely.
Oh, hell yeah.
Meanwhile,
All
the
the
Doctor and
balls.
Jamie suffer at the wrath of the steamy balls.
If it's any comfort to you, you're in fine physical shape. Can you give me your full name, please?
Oh, thank you, darling.
James Robert McCrimmon.
Fine shape.
Jamie, the doctor.
I can't put that down.
Hey.
John Smith.
Mm.
Really?
Wow, Jamie
There it is.
came up with it. I think it's quite cool though, because in Tooth and Claw, the Doctor calls himself James McCrimmon.
I was just thinking that same thing.
Yeah.
And your friend didn't tell you what happened?
No.
All right, Jamie, that'll do for the present.
It's interesting seeing
Controllers wanna
Jamie
have a chat
sink
with you?
or swim by himself in an unfamiliar environment.
It's on the other side of the wheel complex, about 8 sections on. I'll tell Zoe to show you round.
Zoe.
She's our...
Hello?
Well, the best way to describe her would be to call her our librarian.
Zoe is...
A way to describe her is she's replacement Victoria. I'm kidding.
The best way to
Victorian
describe her
Zoe,
is
I
for the
could...
next year. This way for the describer, she's going to be joining you wearing high shorts for the next year.
I was halfway through an RNA analysis when you came on. Right.
I've seen someone say Victoria and Zoe are the same character, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you on about?
Sorry, you must be...
There are some funny telesnaps of Zoe in this story.
Your clothes! You're wearing female garments!
Female? Look, I'll have you know, this is like...
Uh-oh.
Zoe's a transphobe.
Zoe's politically incorrect.
But aphelion.
Oh, I was dying to know that.
I feel called out because I know what those words mean.
Exactly. I don't want to know, Tim. I don't want to know. Well,
I am a base leader. I like routine.
He's like reviewing a Zack Snyder film. People are just edgy!
He suggested it's a possibility, Jarvis. There are others.
we'll talk about those
No,
later.
I'm a
This could
base
be
leader.
serious.
Jarvis!
I have
wait.
decided this. See, I think this is compelling, and I can take the piss out of it. I am in two minds.
I smell trouble.
Can you pinpoint it?
And I will stick it into your anus as I perform analingus on you. We are straight, I'll have you know. I love how I've decided that's her personality. Oh, here are our balls.
No, the balls are touching.
There are things in balls.
Oh, it's a fetus.
So, this in this episode, they have revealed that Cybermen hatch from eggs.
I imagine that's tactical, right?
Yeah. Also, these aren't the same ones that floated towards the wheel. These ones are inside the shuttle. I just thought I'd clarify that.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, I'm sure you can already see the plot hole. Because they were going to blow up the shuttle. So obviously this is a Cyberman plan. The Cybermen have taken control of this shuttle, in case you didn't figure that out already.
Mm-hmm.
And they were approaching... they were approaching the wheel in order to take over the wheel. And they sent the Cybernats on ahead. But the crew of the wheel were going to blow it up, which would have basically annihilated them and just stopped their plan just immediately. So that's already not a great start to the plan, as Dylan has pointed out before, as many people
There's
have
a bit
pointed
of
out before.
there's a bit of a contradiction in there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's not very logical, and the Cybermen prioritize logic, so it definitely doesn't fit with their MO.
Yeah, if you went with, let's say there was a leader who was willing to sacrifice his soldiers, and he had two different plans that he put in place, and they were both alternatives that he could go with, seeing what happened in the situation, then I could believe it more. But because it's the Cybermen, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. Other than that, really good character work.
Really good, actually. I was impressed by that.
Yeah.
The dialogue allowed Jamie to feel contrasted to Zoe, and then obviously we learned more about the crew, and specifically that Russian lady and that man, mostly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot.
I'm surprised I can.
There's a lot of unrest and anxiety on the ship because of the mysteriousness of the situation and the sort of the unknowing. And obviously Jamie's behavior is not helping because he's not being very mindful of what people are going to think about the things he does, and they are suspicious of him because of that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, as I said, like Jamie often has to rely on the Doctor for explanations, but because the Doctor's out of it, Jamie has to sort of not be the Doctor himself, but he has to sort of sink or swim, try and act casual and fit in, but because he's a himbo, he just can't do it.
That's the thing, right? Is that if the Doctor was there, I feel like they could be more trusting of him because the Doctor can be more convincing at allowing people to really understand what's happening with him, and he can explain. Whereas in this situation, Jamie's just not very good at doing that, and he's not aware of the suspicion that's going to be drawn to him by his actions and his words.
Yeah.
And him having to call the Doctor John Smith is not him lying because he wants to lie, it's because he had no other answer to give. And he actually genuinely doesn't know his name.
Yeah. And I do like a lot of people say the story has boring characters, and I think those people are brutally unfair, because I think these characters... I think it's because people... It's that season 5 complaining of, oh, it's just a base under siege again and again and again. And I'm like, shut the ever-loving fuck up. These are good. These characters are good. This format works, and they do different things with it each time. So, but yeah, I think these characters are pretty strong. Like Gemma, as you'll see, she's quite a bad bitch. She's quite.
What is it? My nose.
I don't want to call
Smith. My nose.
Oh no, that's
trouble.
Yeah, that's Tanya. Tanya. And Leo. Gemma's the one with the short haircut.
Oh right, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
The Barbara sounding motherfucker. And then Jarvis is the paranoid base leader who's like, I just know it. I know something's wrong.
Yep.
Protocol. Yeah, it's I do like this story. Well, I like it so far. Yes. I do like all that stuff. I think I don't really have, apart from the Sidemen, I don't really have any major complaints at the moment.
Yeah, the Sidemen plan's the only real issue, I think.
Yeah, and of course it's a great enthusiastic debut for Zoe.
It is actually. She's quite good.
Yeah, she's already very spunky, very just like, oh yes.
And her enthusiasm towards all the knowledge she has.
Yeah.
And Jamie being like, oh yeah, I definitely asked for that.
So true.
Now, what's great is that part 3 is actually surviving, so we can watch the original version.
Yes, we can, and it's also the one where Patty Tratty returns from his holiday.
Great.
And he can diffuse the tension with his presence.
Yes.
Guess who's back off holiday, Jamie?
Yeah, this is the ultimate heterosexual story because it's showing you what fertilization does.
I want to break free. Steamy.
Are you saying that's Freddie Mercury under that?
Gives the word, the laser will blast it out of existence.
God, you can really see how straight they are.
Oh, this is so satisfying, actually seeing the story.
Oh, I know.
Like, actually,
Doctor.
actual existing 62, not missing 62, is very nice to watch.
Uh-oh, Jumu's about to get in trouble.
Oh no, has he messed up the graphics driver?
Smash cut to Cybermen.
These are the first ones with the teardrops, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so they're the ex-prison convict Cybermen.
I am the Tomb of the Cybermen voice.
very blocked nose voice.
Poor Zoe. She doesn't fit in. She's too much of a nerd.
Yeah.
Where did you spring from?
They still have wedding rings in the future.
Some form of spaceman.
I think he's definitely meant to be a Kiwi because y'all Australians and New Zealanders, you see a strange creature and you're just like, yeah, come here.
Yeah.
These can't be dangerous. Look at them. Even if it's a crocodile.
Machine? No, but there's something.
He got hell-bented.
Some warning, some...
He got hell-bented about the survey robot.
Much more valuable than Clara.
A robot, facts, calculations.
Leo!
Proper little
Just
brain
like a
child.
Cyberman.
All brain and no heart.
Yeah. Nice thematic parallel. She's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm a nerd.
What are they trying to say? I'm not a psychopath.
Facts don't care about your feeling.
Fucking. Oh my god, is that why she's a transphobe?
Jesus Christ. Ah, you little bugger. You may be cute, but you disassembled my Barbie. I don't know.
I can't assemble a spectrum in a binary code. It's too complicated. Yeah, whatever this Anzac accent is. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
I'll murder that little pest.
That is the most Aussie response ever. Sabotage, ah.
I'll squash
An
that
animal
little
did.
bastard.
Well, it's a possibility.
That rocket was driven here somehow. I know it was.
Facts don't care about your feelings, Doctor.
Yeah, it is an interesting change of pace, because obviously the second Doctor is usually very racked with anxiety and panic, and in this episode he's just really chill. Just, oh, I had a rest.
This rocket ship, phase 4 is ready. Remove
These are
Let's exposit.
These Cybermen sound like they're talking in a library.
Yeah, they're just expositing between each other, like, this is our plan. Yes, this is our plan.
metal or something like tensile material.
Only an Australian would think small is like a foot wide.
Yeah, small tarantula.
How did this space bug get it?
Small, it's the size of a cat. Yeah, squeezes the layman's.
Come on, I'll introduce you to Billy Boy.
Billy what? Oh, this is on film.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. This is the Italian guy, isn't it?
Yeah. You described this moment as a guy dances to death.
This is fucking cyber ratatouille is what this is.
Hugh describes this as a guy dancing to death against the Cybermats.
Yeah, this is just cyber ratatouille.
A Cybermat is smothered in cocaine.
Oh my goodness. That was fucking hilarious. Sex.
I thought you said you found some golden metal in the power room.
Let's have sex.
All this extra work means we won't be spending too much spare time together.
I'll find someone else to keep me company.
Oh, cuck.
I'd hate it if you didn't have a sense of humor.
Don't grin, Donald Sumter.
It's Roz talking to Theon, that's what it is. and Mr. Lewin's just like, yes, stupid boy.
The Cybermen must be here too. Yes. And there's only one place they can be. On that rocket.
The intensity in his face.
Oh, I love the sound of space.
Boom, boom.
This is very Pink Floyd. No. Floating down, the sound resounds around the icy waters underground.
Wow. Brainwashing time. Facts don't care about your feelings. Oh yeah, the Cyberman's voice is different in this one
Why
scene.
would we
and
send
this
a
one
girl
scene
to
only.
Boy Scouts? The women's bathrooms are unsafe. It seems like the only issue with the story is the Cybermen, isn't it?
Yeah, so far. Because, again, their plan just continues.
Everything else is great. The atmosphere's great. The acting's great. The direction's great. The characters are fantastic. It's all well written and well paced, and it's very entertaining. But the Cybermen are just fucking lame.
Yeah, it's a very interestingly structured story as well, like, with the Doctor and Jamie considered. Because it's a companion introduction. It's not quite Dr. Light. I wouldn't say Dr. Light, but it goes from a bottle episode 2-parter to a Doctor Light episode with the companion sort of by themselves to a companion introduction episode. I know Zoe was in episode 2, but she meets the Doctor in part 3, with the Doctor sort of being chill and Jamie in hot water. Like, structurally, from the main character's point of view, it's very interesting. It's definitely unlike people who are like, oh, this is just like every other Troughton story. This is definitely not like every other Troughton story.
No, it's not.
There are definitely there are definitely structural differences. And as you said, the characters are interesting. Their dynamics and worries and, you know, paranoias and flirtations that are all very interesting and intricate.
Yeah, the paranoia is one of the best elements, actually.
Yeah.
And then in this episode, the Doctor is having to get his way out of Jamie's Gordian knot that he's tied for himself.
He has a lot of not giving a shit energy in this episode, just like, oh, I just want to rest.
Yeah. I think, actually, the bringing up of the Gordian knot, now we're about to get into the themes. The Gordian knot itself is a very good allegory for this whole thing, because on many levels, it represents a lot of what's going on here. Because not only do you have Jamie tying himself into an untiable knot with the things that he said already, that's basically fucked them over, and now the Doctor doesn't really know how to get out, and he's just improvising. But also, you have what's going on with the entire situation. You have all of these very specific things that are all happening at the same time that are causing the distress. Like the meteorite thing happening right as the Cyberman ship is there, as well as the Doctor and Jamie arriving. And it kind of just upsets the whole order of it, which is why Zoe can't figure it out without accusing them. Because obviously she's trying to trace it logically, but logically speaking, this is a very unlikely scenario. It's extremely unlikely for this to all happen. And so it's hard for a logical person to deconstruct the reality of it, because you have to think outside the box for that to happen, and you have to account for the idea of unlikely circumstances.
Yeah.
So
which makes the inclusion of the... Yeah. That is
Well,
brilliant, but then when you include the Cybermen in that just clashes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, Zoe, you got to think outside the box. This is not logical. This is a very unlikely plan that relies on so many contrivances that the Cybermen, the logical creatures, are doing.
Yes.
That doesn't fit with them.
There was a line that the Doctor said to Zoe that I really liked in this episode, where it's something like, logic allows you to be wrong with conviction or something. I can't remember what the word was.
Logic, my dear Zoe, merely enables one to be wrong with authority. That's one of his most famous lines.
Yeah,
so it's good you picked up on that.
That's a fantastic line. And it shows the Doctor's sort of balance between logic and imagination.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's great apart from the damn Cybermen. And unfortunately, their plan starts picking up from here on out.
And the Doctor's point would be it would be way easier for him to back up his point if Jamie hadn't lied out of his ass.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jamie's nosiness has got them into even deeper shit because he messed up the laser.
Yeah. Well, because he wanted to protect the TARDIS, Doctor.
Yep.
Yes, Jamie.
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of great elements going on here. It's just the Cybermen part is a bit weird.
Yeah. Yeah, we get to continue their plan now, because they even though they should have been blown up, logically speaking, and they weren't, by the pure coincidence of the Doctor and Jamie landing there, now they it's because they were like, they sent Cybernats to the wheel to sabotage the Baranium, like, all very well and good, but like that wouldn't have mattered because they would have been blown up anyway if the Doctor and Jamie hadn't landed there, which they couldn't have possibly predicted.
So the Doctor and Jamie have unintentionally saved the Cybermen's asses.
Yeah, which is interesting from their point of view, but for the Cybermen, it shoots their plan in the kneecap. But then, like, you know, the Cybermen's laser is I mean, they reveal this later in the story, but they have a fleet. They have a cyber fleet, which I think the Cyber Planner says anyway. Why can't the cyber fleet just land now? Why do they have to lure people out to the shuttle to bring them on board? Like,
I guess it's a pilot fish situation.
I guess, but I doubt it. I think it's because they saw the moon base, and they were like, the Cybermen are really good when they're being sneaky and infiltrative, so we should do that again, but without really understanding how that works. But yeah, I'm ready for part 4 when you are.
Yeah,
because I think
we're halfway through the story now.
Yeah, I think the first half of the story is definitely the better half of the two.
Okay.
Second half isn't bad per se, but because the Cybermen's plan takes more prominence, it is just more bemusing. So
I see. I mean, I'm really invested in these characters, so there's that.
Yeah. I imagine it will carry you through to the end. I cannot imagine you thinking this is bad by the end of it. But I can definitely imagine you thinking like it's a solid, great story. Well, not great story, but a solid story, but